Every single day, thousands of people type the exact same words. XRP News Today. Not tomorrow, not long term. Today. Why does XRP always feel like it's one announcement away from everything changing? Why does the news around it never seem to stop? And more importantly, what do these news actually mean? Let's dive in. When people search XRP News Today, they're rarely looking for information alone. They're looking for reassurance, for confirmation, for a signal that waiting was worth it. This search isn't driven by curiosity. It's driven by expectation and sometimes anxiety built over years of holding and hoping. XRP isn't just followed like other crypto assets, it's held with expectation. Expectation of adoption, expectation of recognition, expectation of validation. That emotional weight changes how people consume information. Every update feels bigger. Every headline feels closer to a turning point. Some crypto projects evolve quietly through code. XRP doesn't. Its evolution is tied to companies, institutions, partnerships, and public communication. That means progress often comes through announcements, reports, and statements, not just software releases. When progress is public, it naturally becomes news. Because XRP operates in the open, almost everything becomes visible. Strategic decisions, infrastructure plans, long-term partnerships, even when changes are incremental, visibility makes them feel significant, and visibility feeds headlines, regardless of whether the impact is immediate or gradual. Here's where the cycle accelerates. The same XRP information gets reused, reframed, and reposted. An old announcement becomes an update. An update becomes breaking news. The facts often stay the same, but repetition creates the illusion of constant movement. Most XRP news doesn't introduce something new. It reintroduces something familiar. But headlines move faster than infrastructure. The story feels dynamic. The system moves slowly. That gap between repetition and reality is exactly where XRP News Today lives. On the XRP ledger, technical progress is steady and deliberate. Validators improve, tools evolve, systems get refined. Important? Absolutely. Revolutionary overnight? Rarely. But when technical language meets headline culture, nuance disappears, and every update starts sounding historic. Not every XRP-related update carries the same weight. Some changes improve efficiency. Others adjust infrastructure. Very few alter the fundamentals of adoption or usage. But when technical evolution is misunderstood, every improvement gets framed as a turning point, even when it's simply part of long-term maintenance. Unlike most crypto assets, XRP is closely associated with a company. Ripple builds products, negotiates partnerships, and communicates publicly. That corporate presence naturally creates news cycles. Every announcement, strategic or incremental, becomes part of XRP's narrative, even when the ledger itself remains unchanged. Institutional involvement changes perception. When banks, custodians, or financial entities appear in the story, attention spikes. Even exploratory steps feel significant. For XRP, institutional language creates urgency, because institutions move slowly, but when they move at all, people assume something big is coming. Over time, announcements stop being just information. They become narrative fuel. Each update reinforces the idea that XRP is close, next, or about to be recognized. Whether justified or not, repetition strengthens belief. and belief keeps people searching for the next headline. XRP carries a long-term promise. Years of waiting create pressure. Pressure turns every update into a potential release valve. While Bitcoin evolves independently of announcements, XRP's story feels incomplete without them, making each piece of news feel like it could finally resolve everything. Expectation doesn't just follow news, it amplifies it. When people believe a breakthrough is overdue, even neutral information feels decisive. That's why XRP headlines often sound urgent, not because the change is dramatic, but because the expectation already exists. Some XRP news does matter. Infrastructure improves, legal clarity evolves, access expands gradually. But most headlines don't change price, status, or adoption overnight. They inform more than they transform, even if the presentation suggests something immediate is happening. What XRP news rarely changes is certainty. It doesn't guarantee timing. It doesn't remove risk. It doesn't finalize outcomes. Most headlines add context, not conclusions. Understanding that difference is critical because confusing information with confirmation is how people get trapped by constant updates. Constant headlines create the illusion of constant movement. But most XRP progress happens quietly, over months or years. Announcements mark steps, not finish lines. When news arrives daily, it feels like acceleration. In reality, it's usually the same long process being observed more closely. The vast majority of people don't search XRP News Today for information alone. They search for reassurance, for confirmation, for a signal they didn't miss the moment. Daily checking becomes emotional maintenance, not research, especially when expectations stay unresolved. To read XRP news properly, one question matters more than the headline. Does this change infrastructure or just narrative? Real signal affects how the system works. Noise affects how it's perceived. Learning to separate the two reduces stress and prevents emotional overreaction to every update. Most XRP news only makes sense on long timelines. Daily headlines feel urgent. Yearly progress tells the real story. When you zoom out, urgency fades and patterns emerge. XRP isn't built around moments. It's built around gradual integration into existing financial systems. This cycle won't stop because XRP isn't finished. As long as Ripple builds, regulators clarify, and institutions explore, there will always be something to announce. Incremental progress generates endless headlines, not because change is constant, but because development never fully pauses. Constant news doesn't mean constant impact. Most updates refine systems rather than redefine outcomes. That's normal and healthy for infrastructure projects. The danger isn't the news itself. It's expecting every update to deliver resolution instead of understanding its place in the process. XRP isn't a hype machine. It's a system evolving in public view. The noise is real, but so is the progress. Understanding the difference protects you from overreacting to headlines that feel urgent but change very little in practice. Just keep in mind that clarity matters more than speed. Don't worry, if you search XRP News Today every morning, you're not alone. But remember, most of what you'll find explains where XRP is, not where it's going next week. This project moves slowly, visibly, and incrementally. Understanding that rhythm changes how every headline feels. XRP's constant headlines don't mean constant transformation. They reflect a project building in plain sight, slowly, publicly, and imperfectly. The real risk isn't missing the next announcement. It's misunderstanding what announcements can realistically deliver. If you want to explore the world of crypto, don't chase miracles. Educate yourself. Because in this world, a simple click can change a life. But only knowledge can protect your future.